in this exam session for English language. Before we start, allow me to introduce my colleagues in the studio. Miss Ula Al-Moui.
Good morning.
Good morning. English Language Supervisor, Tartus Directorate. Miss Najla Al-Dbesi.
Good morning.
Good morning. English Language Teacher, Damascus Countryside Directorate. Miss Maha Al-Jarkas.
Good morning.
Good morning. English Language Teacher, Damascus Directorate. And Miss Nisreen Sa'bani.
Good morning.
Good morning. English Language Teacher, Damascus Directorate. And this is me, Abdul Majid Overly, Senior Supervisor and Coordinator of English Language Curriculum. Next slide, Miss Hiba, please. We're going to start with Miss Ula, with past and present.
Okay.
Please.
The book starts with a general revision of the tenses, present simple, past simple, present continuous, past continuous, because they had these parts of the tenses before. So a quick revision, and then we will move to other kinds of grammar. So the present simple, we use the present simple to talk about routines and habits, like they always go skiing in winter. It's like a habit, something that happens in general, so we use the present simple. How do we use present simple? Subject plus verb, S or without S, based on the subject. If he, she, it, we use S. They, we, you, I, we don't use S.
We add S to the verb with he, she, it.
So
yes.
like they go, she goes. Okay. And here you have to pay attention to the words like always. Use the past simple to talk about finished events in the past. So it has to be finished. So we need words like in the past, ago, in 2000, when he was 5, like this sentence.
There should be time reference.
Time reference to use the simple past, like he moved to Canada when he was 5. So it's over, it's finished, so we use the simple past. The simple past is the second form of the verb. Now with the present continuous and past continuous, the form is, we use verb to be plus ing, like is, am, are plus ing in the present continuous, and was or were plus ing in the past continuous. And we have time reference as well, like this one, I am studying for my exams this week. So with today, this week, at the moment, words
now.
like this, now. So it means something is happening
These
now.
are keywords for the present continuous.
Exactly. So we use the present continuous. With the past continuous, we have something that happened in the past, and most probably they are mentioned in this book, an accident that interrupted something else, action that interrupted some a different action. Like the last time I heard from her, she was working in Damascus. So working took a long time, so we use the past continuous, and I heard from her, it's very quick.
Actually, here we don't have interruption. It is a specific point in the past, but the action was in progress. In the book, yes, we have interruption.
Yes.
Something was going on and was interrupted with another action. We put the first one in the past continuous, and the one that interrupted it in the simple past.
Like
tense.
while I was going to school, I fell off.
Yes. Miss Najla, the following slide,
Yes.
present perfect with already, just, and yet.
Yes. Now the present perfect with already, just, and yet, and we are going to know, dear students, how to differentiate between them. So we use the present perfect with just to say that something has been completed very recently. Example, I have just finished reading this book. Number 2, use the present perfect with already to say that something has been completed in the present or past. Example, I've already read this book, or I've read this book already.
So the position of already can be either at the beginning,
Yes. Or between,
or after have,
yes,
or at the end.
yes.
Not like just. Just only comes between have
Between
and
have
verb.
and
past
verb
participle.
Yes. Now the last one, use the present perfect with yet to say that something hasn't been completed by the time of speaking. So here the action is not completed. I haven't read it yet, but I will read it soon.
Okay,
Okay.
actually we use yet with questions.
With
Negative and
and
question.
negatives.
Negative statements.
Next slide, Miss Hiba. Miss Mahal Jarkas, continue with since and for.
We use the present perfect to talk about actions and situations that started in the past and continue up to the present. The present perfect is also used with for and since. For is used with a period of time or time expressions, and use since with a specific date or time expression. We have an example: I've lived here for 14 years, or I've lived here since I was a child.
So since with a point in time and for with duration of time.
Yes.
Next slide with Miss Nasreen.
Yes. Now let's move to the present perfect continuous, which is new for the students in this year. We use the present perfect continuous to talk about actions that were in progress at a time in the past and are continuing in the present or have just recently finished. So we have two kinds, continuing in the present or just finished recently. Like, why are you crying? I've just, we can use it or not, been watching a sad film. We usually don't use just with the
Yes,
present
yes, we don't
perfect
use
continuous,
just.
but here we use it to mention that the action is finished.
It's finished.
Has
Yes.
recently finished.
And there is an important idea that the state verbs such as love, like, want, need, know, prefer, agree, etc. can't be used in the continuous form.
Yes.
So we use the present perfect with a state verb. Like this
It
example.
means simple. Present
Yes,
perfect
present
simple.
perfect.
Simple, yes.
Actually, not only with the present perfect continuous. State verbs never used with
ING.
continuous, with
Yes.
continuous
General, yeah.
situation.
Yes. Like, my brother and I have agreed to travel together.
Actually, with since and for, both tenses,
correct.
present perfect simple and present perfect continuous, have the same function.
Yes.
Following slide, Miss Hiba, we come back to Miss Ola.
This is an example of the questions in the exam, because with the tenses, they're going to have two choices. Of course, this one is from the book, but
Yes.
to be familiar with the way they're going to have it in the exam. Number one, for example, I've known or I've been knowing my best friend all my life. We know that sometimes with all we have a present perfect continuous, but with no we cannot
it
use
is a
it
state verb.
because it's a state verb. So we choose I've known. I've known my best friend all my life.
Yes.
It would be better if we put known and been knowing between brackets. Number two,
Okay. My mother has taught or been teaching me to play the piano, but I can't play it well yet. I think both can be used, but present perfect continuous is the best one
means
because
it's
I
still in
can't.
progress.
Yes.
Because
Pre-
the
I
at
can't
the
play
end
it
of the
yet.
sentence,
Yes.
when they use I can't play well
I can't,
yet.
not yet. So it's taking time, and yet I'm not done.
Yes.
May continue in the future.
I've already tidied or been tidying my room. We have just said that with already, it's always simple. So I've already tidied my room.
Yes.
I haven't visited or been visiting Europe yet. Again, with yet, simple. So I haven't visited. Hurry up. So hurry up, it means something like it's continuing now. You've talked or you've been talking on the phone for an hour. So for an hour, it's like indicate you've been talking for a very long time. So you've been talking on the phone for an hour.
Actually, hurry up is an order, imperative, and usually we give the imperatives at the time of speaking, and when it is at the time of speaking, the continuous tense prevails.
Where have you been? With the verb wait, wait is a long verb, so I've been waiting for you all morning. So
All morning.
it needs time. I've always wanted or been wanting to be a pilot. Want again is a state verb, so I've always wanted to be a pilot. I've never seen or been seeing such a beautiful sight. I've never seen. Again, with see
Because
we have
see is a
simple.
state verb and doesn't go with the continuous situation.
Thank you.
Yes. The following slide, Miss Hiba, please. Miss Najla.
Yes. Now, dear student, we are going to make or to differentiate between present perfect or simple past
This
simple.
is very important.
Yes, it's very important because our students get confused between them. They can't differentiate between them. So let us talk about them. Use the present perfect to talk about events in the recent recent past when no specific time is mentioned. So when we don't have specific time, for example, a date or yesterday or So we can use the present perfect, which
So
is have or
The matter
has
is
with
time
the-
reference.
Yes,
If we have time reference, it is simple past.
exactly.
No time
and-
reference, present perfect.
Yes, and we use, of course, the grammatical structure for present perfect is have or has according to the subject and then the third form of the verb. I've cut my finger. Here we don't have any time reference. Have you been to the dentist during the last 6 months? So now the second one, use the past symbol when a specific time is in the past is mentioned. For example, I broke my leg 2 years ago.
Ago
Look, dear
means
students,
simple
here we
past.
have 2 years ago. I went to the dentist last week. So here the time is specific.
Last with time
Yes.
means in the past. Following slide, Miss Hiba, please. Miss Nasreen.
Yes. Now
Past
the
perfect.
past perfect, which is also new for the ninth grade students. Past perfect is when we have two actions in the past. A
Two
past
simple
and
actions in the past.
yes, a past and earlier past. So
So one happened before the other,
The other.
and we have a time between them.
yes, so we use the past simple to describe something that happened in the past, and we use the past perfect to describe something that happened before that time.
Yes.
Like, I had already cooked the dinner by the time my mother came home.
Actually, by the time, especially by the time,
We
usually
use it.
comes
Yes,
with two parts. One part simple past, the other part should be past,
past
perfect.
perfect. Yes,
So students need to be careful when they see by the time in a sentence in the exam. There should be simple past and past perfect.
yes. So in this example, we mean that I had cooked the dinner before my mother came home. When we arrived at the theater, the concert had already started. The same idea that we have two actions and we have when, which tell us that there is action happened before the other.
Actually, when we use when,
Yes.
if we use two simple past events, so the second after when means the second happened after the first. But when we use when with the past perfect means before the second one happened already. The following slide, Miss Hiba, please. Miss Saula.
Okay, now before I start, Nawara is asking us to give examples about missing words. Follow us, Nawara, and we're going to give you some examples. We're going to give examples about missing words.
Yes.
Now, we're going to talk about I'll, shall I, and going to, be going to. We use will to predict the future or something that we decide now. Predict the future, to say something is going to think. I think something is going to happen. I believe something is, will happen.
Yes.
The weather will get hotter. It won't get colder. This is a prediction.
And
I have
depends
no
on the
proof.
mind.
Exactly.
Depends on the mind. When you think, when you predict because you think, we use will.
So there's no proof, no evidence in the present that this is going to happen in the future. We use will with something that is decided now. I'll make some tea. This out of the blue, I'll make some tea. Someone is knocking on the door, I'll answer it or I'll open the door.
So it will be clear for the students that it is happening now.
Now.
The decision is being
I have
taken
just
now.
decided.
The phone is ringing. I will answer. Somebody
Yes.
is knocking at the door.
I'll
I
open
will
the door.
open.
Okay. With going to, it's something different. We decided before, so it's kind of a plan. It's a plan or intention. Like, I'm not going to watch TV tonight, I'm going to read a book. I've decided before that I'm not going to
What I am going
watch
to do.
TV, I'm going
Yes.
to read. So intention or a plan, we use going to be with going to
So the decision at the moment of speaking
will.
The decision is
Before the
made
moment.
before going to. And
Going
for prediction,
For prediction, will.
if it is predicted because you think, use will. But if you predict because you see an evidence,
Exactly.
use going to. Like, look at those dark clouds.
It's
it
going
is
to rain.
For suggestions and
For
offers,
and offers, we have shall I or I'll, and they can differentiate with the question mark by the end of the sentence.
I want to say something. Actually, in the past, we used
Shall.
to use shall with I and we, but nowadays we can
It's
use
not.
will with all pronouns. But if
With-
it is a question, with I and we, it should be shall I
Shall
and
I.
shall we. And here for suggestions and offers, shall I
Shall
or
I?
shall we?
I'm suggesting, I'm asking you to give me the permission. Shall I give you a lift to the station? If you said no, I will not take you.
It's
But
an
if
offer.
it's an offer. But if I say I'll take you, it's not an offer, I'm taking you anyway. So I can't speak French, I'll teach you.
Yes.
Okay. Following slide, first conditional. Miss Maha, are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Just one more question. She's asking if she needs to memorize from the text. No memorizing.
Just understand.
Just understand,
It
read
is
and
comprehension,
understand.
comprehension.
Exactly.
But you need to know, if you want to memorize something, memorize the meaning of words.
Exactly.
Because you will need to know the words
The
in
meaning.
exam. So that
To understand, it's not translation, it's understanding what you're reading.
This is
And-
what we mean by comprehension.
And we're going to give examples about making questions and how to make questions for Ihsan.
Yes, Miss Maha, first
So,
conditional.
the first conditional, we use if with the present simple. Then in the second part of the sentence, or the other part of the sentence, we use will or won't for things that will possibly
Want is will
happen.
not.
Yes, won't is the abbreviation of will not. We have an example. If it rains, we won't go to the park. And if we have time, we'll go and see the counselor. We can put the if part or the will part of the sentence first. It doesn't matter. So if he doesn't feel well, he won't go to school. He won't go to school if he doesn't feel well.
Actually, just I want to say something.
Yes.
When we start with if clause at first, we put a comma at the end of the first clause. Then we continue with the result clause, which is the will clause. If we start with the result clause with will, no need to put a comma before if,
Yes.
but if we put it, it's not wrong. Yeah, continue.
I've
Done?
finished. We'll
You
move to the
finished.
second.
Next slide, please. We come back to Miss Najla,
Yes.
because I skipped her.
Now, dear students, we are going to talk about second conditional. It is similar somehow to the first one,
Before
but
we move, I just want to say something to the
Yes.
students. The first conditional means something real in the present
yes,
and in the future. The second is something unreal in the
Imaginary.
present,
Imaginary, yes.
imaginary. So it is present, not past.
okay.
But we're going to use the simple past just to show that it is unreal. Please.
We
Okay.
call it fake past sometimes.
Sorry?
Fake past.
Yeah, you call unreal past.
Unreal past, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Start?
please.
Yes.
Floor
Second
is yours.
conditional, yes.
Sorry for interruption.
No, it's not a matter. So use if with past symbol plus would or wouldn't for imaginary situation, as Mr. Majid said. So we can use here it to express imaginary or fake events. Now, if you told me a secret, I wouldn't tell anyone.
Not
Here-
real. Not real.
Not real, yes. And
Because
we have here
usually when you
told-
tell me a secret, I will tell
Ah, you
everyone.
will tell everyone, yes, okay. So I will not tell you.
Don't ever tell me.
But we will tell him that it is a secret. And to
Yes,
the
after we
second
say
one,
it is
it's
a secret, don't tell anyone, but we will tell everyone. Actually, the secret is one of two issues. Either very important to keep it, or not important to keep it.
Now,
Yes.
if you told me a secret, I wouldn't tell you. As you can see, dear students,
I wouldn't
here,
tell anyone.
yes, anyone. If here is the article or the thing we use to express the conditional sentence. Told is the verb in simple past, and would here for the tense agreement we have to use would, not will. Okay, because told is simple past, would is also past. Tell after would is zero form of the verb, anyone. Now we can put the if part or the would part of the sentence first. It is not wrong to use them in these two places. If I got some money for my birthday, I would save up for a new tablet.
Tell it.
I would save up for a new tablet if I get some money for my birthday. So it's not.
We hope
yes,
you get
it's not
money.
wrong. Yes, I hope too. We usually put a comma after the if part of the sentence, and you have already explained. it.
Yes, the following slide, Miss Nasreen,
Yes.
present simple passive, present continuous passive, passive with can, and past
So it's the
Passive.
passive.
Yes, so it's the passive, which is a form, not a tense. We can use it with different tenses. In general, passive means that when the focus is on the action, not who does it. And we can use it in a present simple, present continuous, past passive, and with can, which is with modals. But
Yes.
here in our book, we use it only with can. For example, the first example in the present. Every year, new technology is developed to warn people about possible disasters. This is in present, so we use verb to be and the verb three. Verb to be am and is and are. Yes. Walls are being built. Here is
It's
the
continuous.
present continuous passive. And here we use verb to be plus being plus the verb three. And as for
So
the
with
model,
continuous tenses, we use being after verb to be. Yes.
yes, for the model can, storms can be predicted by satellite. So here we put be after the can, after the auxiliary verb. When it's important to say who did the action, we can put by at the end of the sentence.
And it's used as a missing word for students to pay attention.
Yeah. I just want to say
yes.
something before you continue. Actually, for me, like this, it's not very clear. For the student, we need to show him or her the original active, not passive, the active sentence. People develop new technologies every year, or every year people develop new technology. Develop is present simple.
Yes.
We put the object at the beginning and we say new technology. People develop doesn't take S because people is plural and takes develop, but technology is singular. We need to use either, as you said, am or is or are. Technology takes is. And the verb develop goes to verb three, and the sentence, as we see, new technology is developed to warn people
Yes.
about possible disasters. Now, if we put by people, it's not wrong. But since it is not important, we can leave it. But for the students in the exam, usually, if they put by people or by him, and it's not important, they will not lose marks.
With the ninth grade, they don't
They
have
don't
to
have this, yes, but I'm just giving a general advice. If you put it, it's not wrong. But if you need to put it, like, for example, Sarah,
by
it's a
scientists,
proper
for
noun,
example.
or scientists. If you don't put it and it should be put, you will lose marks. Now, I think you have 2 lines to continue.
Only the example. There has been an earthquake. People are being rescued by helicopter. So here we put by
Here it
at
should
the
be
end.
by a helicopter.
Yes. And I want to mention something that because in the exam they have only to choose.
Yes,
So
between
they
brackets
can
on-
depend about on time
subject.
expression.
And the subject, they need to understand if it's a passive voice or an active verb.
Yes, to know if it is present or past. Okay.
Well, the following slide with whose turn? Miss Najla or Ola?
The same.
Ola.
With the past passive, it's the same. With the passive, we are talking about processes and facts, and now we are talking about them in the past. So in the past, we have was or were with the past participle, the third form of the verb. Again, the focus is on the action, and we don't care about who does the action. If we care about who is the doer or who is doing the action, we use by, which is, again, can be used as a missing word in the exam. The city of New Orleans was badly damaged by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. The climbers were rescued from the top of the mountain. So was or were, past participle. If we need to mention the doer of the action, we use by. If it's not necessary, just skip it.
Yes.
Following slide, Miss Hiba. Miss Najla.
Yes. Now, dear student, it's a very important question in the exam.
No.
Choose the correct words. This painting, painted by Monet in the 19th century, And here we have three choices: is, was, and is being. Now, dear student, if you look at the end of this sentence, you can see the 9th century. This indicates past, so we cannot use is or is being.
Because
It is, yes, definitely was. So in the exam, please try to understand the tense of the sentence, and due to or according to the tense of the sentence, you can decide which A, B, or C you have to choose. To choose. Now,
Yes.
the ancient pyramids built by the Egyptians were, are being, or are. All of us know that the old or ancient Egyptians is something from the past, and here we have B and C present, are being, are something present, related to present simple. Now we have to choose A, which is where.
Where?
3. Today, millions of mobile phone calls made every second. We have where, are being, and can. Now, today, something indicates present,
Present,
continuous,
continuous.
and of course, we have to choose are being. Number 4, traditionally on this day, special food eaten, and this is still the case today. So, food can be, is being, or was. Traditionally means that something happens
in the
often.
past.
Yes. So was eaten, and if you can understand the end of the sentence, this is still the case today. So it is definitely that we are talking about something in the past. Now, number 5, exams in Syria usually done at the end of each school semester. Can be, where, are. Usually indicates present simple and are done.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
The following slide, Miss Hiba used to and didn't used to. In the past, we used to have would with it. This year, lucky students, they don't have
don't have
would.
would.
Yes.
Miss Nasreen,
Yes. We use used to, and the negative form, which is didn't, used to, with the infinitive verb, to talk about states or repeated action in the past. So we are talking about definitely the past. There is no used to in the word because
Exactly.
it is
it's
we
not,
use it.
It's not in the present.
Mm.
It was
It's
frequent in the
only-
past, but not anymore.
Yes. So like I used to want to be a doctor, but now I want to be a teacher. In the exam, we have choices, so be careful about using it. And other examples, we used to go on holiday every summer. We didn't use to go. Even we have every, which is for the present, but used to is only for the
Can
past.
be
So
used
it
in
is
the past.
something we used it in
We
the
used to
past,
do every
and
day in the
we
past.
used it every summer in the past. That's it.
Okay. The following slide, Miss Maha.
Yes. The reported speech, present simple, present continuous. The reported speech is used to report what someone else has said. We use said or told to report what someone said or said to someone else. Of course, it's not the direct speech.
Told needs an object.
Yes, told needs an object. When we change a sentence into a reported speech, we first must pay attention to the pronouns. We need to change them. I becomes he, she, or it. We becomes they. You becomes I or we. Me, him or her. Us, them, and you, me, or us. Then we need to pay attention to the verb tense, which means that we change the present simple into past simple.
We go one step back.
Yes, we
in
go
the
one
tense.
step back. I always play tennis on Saturdays, said Ibrahim. Ibrahim said that, and that is optional.
The first sentence, we have quotation marks, so we
Yes.
put the same exact words of the speaker. But
Yes.
when we report saying Ibrahim said,
We don't use quotations.
we go
one step back.
tense back.
Yes. Ibrahim said that he always played. Played is in the past. Tennis on Saturdays. The present continuous becomes past continuous, and here we have to pay attention that the auxiliary verb changes. We don't omit or delete the ing from the verb. We're going to the zoo, said Iman. You can come with us. Iman said that they were going to the zoo, she said that I could come with them.
Thank you. The following slide, Ms. Ola.
Okay, so to sum up, we can say that to use the reported speech 3 point, change the pronoun, change the verb, and use told or said. Now, with told or said, there's something to differentiate between the use of the two. And it can be used between brackets. How to differentiate between said or told? When do we use this or that? They are both used to report. So the difference is that with told we have a pronoun, like told him, told me, told you. So when we have an object
pronoun, yes.
after the bracket, so it's told, not said.
Yes.
With said, we can omit that. In reported speech, that can be omitted after it's said. We said, he said he was going to the beach, or he said that he was going to the beach. Both are correct. So these 2 points. Told needs an object, and with said we can omit that. Examples, Ali, I'm sorry about what happened. Samira told Ali that she was sorry about what had happened, or Samira said to Ali that she was sorry about what had happened.
Yes. But usually when we have an object, we use told, not said. Okay, Miss Najla,
Yes.
reported speech, present simple, present continuous, said and told. We have time and place
And the
references.
place. Now let us move to talk about time and the place references change when we use reported speech. For example, she said, I'm going swimming this afternoon. When we make it into or change it into reported speech, she said that she was going swimming that afternoon.
So everything near
So
becomes far.
far, yes. Now, dear students, take care, and that this will, you have to change this into that. We have other expressions or time expressions like today will be that day, tomorrow, the next or the following day,
Or the day after.
yeah, or the day after, next week, month or year, the following week, month or year. This for time, we
That.
have that, this or that adjectives, the, here, there.
Yes. The following slide, Miss Nisreen.
Yes, now I
Miss
wish.
Hiba. Yes, I wish.
I wish is something related to present. This is very important idea. We are not wishing something for the future. So it is talking about situation that I wish that
They were different.
They were different.
Yes.
Like when I say I wish I had money.
Again,
when
imaginary situation.
Yes.
So
Unreal.
when
unreal
I don't
past.
have money. So I wish I studied more languages. I am studying only one. So I wish something which I don't have.
Yes. Miss Maha.
Yes. Here we have some examples about using wish. The first one is, I wish I traveled or traveling to more places. After wish, of course, we use the past, so we choose traveled. I wish I eat or ate enough vegetables. I wish I ate. 3, I wish I read or will read more books. Of course, I wish I read. Number 4, I wish or wished I didn't forget about any of my friends' birthdays. I wish. 5, I wish living or lived by the sea. I wish I lived by the sea. 6, I am wishing or I wish I always listen to my mom's advice. I wish. We all wish
Yes.
that.
The following slide, Miss Hiba. This is the exam paper.
yes, now after finishing with the tenses, this is an example of the exam paper and how tenses are going to be written or given in the exam.
I hope we have mentioned something about as soon as about these issues.
We have,
Yes,
but
we
these
have.
are the tenses.
Yes.
Now with the tenses. Today, for example, now with the tenses, we are done with the tenses, so examples of the tenses. Today, a lot of people were traveling or are traveling by plane. Now, students can see that things are not very complicated, they are clear. Because we have today, so it's obvious
Present.
that are traveling.
Yes.
It can be were traveling. As we were walking around, again, we were walking, so again we have past, so we met
Use past.
a group of tourists.
Here we have interruption.
I will pass or would pass the exam if. Here we have a wish, an if
Conditional.
case. This is a second conditional. So because we have if I studied,
In the simple.
so the first part should be would pass.
Yes.
Would pass the exam. Number 29, I know or I have known my best friend. We have just had this sentence, and because no cannot be used in the, we had it this form, cannot be used in the
When
ing.
we have since, it
We ha-
should be
Exactly, but
present
now
perfect.
present perfect. Here we don't have present perfect continuous, sorry. I know or I have known. We have since, so it's present perfect for sure. They wanted to know is something like reported speech. It's not a reported speech, but something like that, because we have wanted, so if
In the
she
past.
enjoyed in past.
Yes. The following slide, Ms.
Another
Hiba.
example.
Yes, another example. Choose the correct tense between brackets, dear students. It's an important one. 26. Fatin always goes when to work by bus because she doesn't have a car. We have here always, and so, dear student, you have to choose goes. The following one.
Actually, in my opinion, both are accepted.
Yes, but
Always
at
it is the
school,
simple past
yes,
and the present
goes,
simple.
yes.
So this is something, a mistake happened in the exam paper. Both are accepted. Maybe someone may say because she doesn't have
She
a
doesn't
car,
at present.
but again, Fatin always went to work by bus and Fatin always goes by bus. Both are accepted.
Yes.
The following one.
The following one. The lesson has started before we arrived. Arrived verb 2 in the simple
Here,
past.
before we arrive, is simple
Yes.
past. So the
So we
present
have
perfect is
had
not accepted.
started. Number 28. While the kids were playing in the garden, it began to rain. Dear students, here began is in simple past, so we have to use something related to the past for the tense agreement where playing is the correct answer. The following one, he told me that he finishes his work early. He told me, as we said in passive,
reported
yes,
speech.
reported, we have to use the simple past. Sally does her homework at the moment. At the moment is an indicator of the simple continuous,
The
and
present
is doing,
continuous.
yes, present continuous, and is doing is the correct answer.
Yes.
The following slide, Miss Hiba, thank you. Miss Nisreen,
Yes.
could and couldn't.
Could and
Again, in
couldn't.
the past, it was more complicated. It was
Because-
able to and such and such. This is easier for the new students.
Yes. Only here in the ninth grade book, the use of could to describe general possibility or ability in the past. So be careful about the time expression when it is in the past to say, I could answer all the question in the test, which is something happened. I couldn't go to the concert because I didn't have a ticket. So it depends on the meaning of the sentence to choose it.
Thank you. The following slide, Miss.
Just one is asking about the reported speech. Most probably it's between brackets in the tenses question.
Yes, all what they need to know that after said or told
Said,
and object, we
past.
use the past. That's it.
So between brackets in the tenses, when you see said or told, we use past, or between brackets to differentiate between
Between said
told
and told.
or said.
Yes.
Have to, must have to, and should. Must is used with authority. If someone has authority, uses must. Have to, we report the order of someone who has authority or for general rule. Should is for advice.
Yes.
Miss Maha?
Yes, have to is used to express strong obligation when the obligation comes from someone else.
Yes.
An example, we have to wear a uniform to school.
This is a public
We
rule.
need to pay attention that the verb
Yes.
after have to must be in the base form.
Form, yes, verb
Yes.
zero.
The school here obliges us to wear a uniform.
Uniform.
Must
Yes.
is also used to express strong obligation, but when the obligation comes from you.
From you or from
Yes.
someone who has authority.
Yes. And the verb is also after must is used in the base form. I must go home. My mother is waiting for me. I'm the one who has decided to go home, not someone
Yes.
else.
So you can give an order to yourself and say, I must.
Yes.
Should.
Should is used to express mild obligation. You should go and see him soon. After should, the base form, it's not a strong obligation, but it would be better to go and see him.
Advice.
Yes.
So must and have to, the person needs to do what is giving order.
Yes.
But with should, he can do or cannot do, it is an advice.
Yes.
Whose turn?
Mine.
Miss Ola, please.
Okay.
Too much, too many,
Too much, too
more
many,
enough.
too more enough. And because we know that students, all they care about for now is the exam, you can have these words as between brackets, to
Yes.
choose between brackets, or missing words. Too much or too many can be used, and even too can be used with missing words. For countable nouns, we use too many, too many, too many books, too many cars, and too is a negative meaning. They have to pay attention to that. Too is not like so. It's used for negative, like too crowded, too noisy. There are too many cars on the, sorry, this is different, too many cars on the road, too few people use bicycle or walk. So too many cars, something bad, too few people, we need more. So too is negative meaning.
Yes.
And many with the countable
More than,
nouns.
two means more than okay.
More than okay. Too much with the uncountable noun, like there is too much pollution in cities these days. It's not accepted. We need to do something to reduce it.
In the exam, the students will see too many, too much, and a noun. If it is countable,
They
need to
use
too
many.
In brackets, yes.
Yes. If it is uncountable, they use too much. It's very simple exam.
And sometimes
Simpler than
it's
here.
given in the missing words. They might have it in the missing words.
Yes.
We use more or enough. Here they have to understand the meaning. More is something we need or we haven't got enough before the noun. Or we haven't got enough roads, for example. We don't need more roads. We've got enough roads. So before the noun to describe a quantity or number. We use too with adjective, like I have just mentioned, too crowded, too noisy.
More than okay.
The pavements are too narrow. They aren't wide enough. This is the expression, not adjective enough, not wide enough, not tall enough, so we need more.
Yes.
They need to understand.
Next
These words
slide,
are
Miss.
to understand them in order to use them.
The use of a, and the. Miss
Yes,
Najla.
of course, it's a confusing matter to use when to use a or an and when to use the for their students. Use the plural noun without the for talking about things in general. So when we talk about something in general, okay,
We
we
don't
don't
use the.
specify something or someone, somebody. So we don't use the. B, use the for regions or names of countries, because these things, when I say or when I talk about the
They are
name,
clear. They are clear
yes,
to the listener.
so we use the. Use the second time you mention something. So when I mention it first, we don't use the. The second time we use the before it. Use a.
Before you continue with a or an, let me say something, please. If the listener is going to say which one, the is wrong to be used.
Yes, exactly.
But if it is clear to the listener, the is accepted. We use the when we have only one thing in the world or in the country or in
Yes.
the place.
The Nile, the Amazon, for example.
The sun,
The
the
sun,
moon,
yes.
the door, the
The
board,
teacher.
the teacher. So when we have only one of something, we use the.
The.
We use the after the verb play with musical instruments. We use the with an adjective to describe group of people. But in the exam, my advice to the students, if they put the, and the listener is going to say which one, so the is wrong. Make it closer to your mouth because they can't
Yes,
hear very
okay.
well. If the listener is going to say which one, the is wrong. If it's clear to the listener, so we should use the. A or an, I want to summarize. We use a or an with singular, countable, indefinite nouns, singular, countable, indefinite nouns, when mentioned for the first time, and we have more than one of that noun.
Yes.
Now you can continue.
Yes. Now, D, use a or an the first time you mention something, and use a or an for one of many possible examples, as you said. Mr.
Next
Majid.
slide, please. Some, all, many, Ms. Maha.
Yes, some, all, and many. We use some to talk about unspecified quantities, countable and uncountable nouns. There are some very interesting places to visit just outside the city. When we talk about countable nouns with some, they must be plural. Let's go into the countryside for some fresh air. We use all to include every example of the subject. All the houses in this street were built more than 300 years ago. So all the houses. And all is also used with plural nouns.
Yes.
Yes, use many to talk about a large but unspecified number of things. Many people moved to the cities from the countryside to work.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Miss Nisreen,
Yes.
non-defining relative clauses with who and which. And in the exam, students are not going to change into non-defining or use non-defining. They're going to choose between who or which.
Yes.
We use who
Or
with
sometimes
Or
to
missing
put
word.
it in the missing word.
Yes.
Yes.
people, who, which, things.
Yes, that's it. We use which or that, who, or where to say exactly what or who you are talking about. For example, the man who or that I was talking to is my uncle. Here, of course, we use who because the man is a person, and we can't use that. Tourists who come to Jordan usually go to Petra. Also, we use who. To give extra information about something,
Actually, we can use that, and we can use who with non-defining, with defining relative clauses.
But
But
with
non-defining,
non-defining?
with non-defining, we cannot use. So my
Yes.
advice to the students, forget about that. Use who for people,
And
which
which
for
for
things,
things.
and keep
we
on
always
the safe
advise
side.
them to don't use that because
No, 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 no,
sometimes
okay.
it is not clear to know if the
Exactly.
sentence
The
is defined.
example in the board, the man, this is defining.
Yes.
This is a defining, but you can use that. But our grammar in the book, it is non-defining. With non-defining, we cannot use that when it is clear, like tourists. So we cannot say tourists that come.
Yes.
Tourists who come. But the man who or that is accepted. Yes, continue, please.
And to give extra information about something or someone, we use which for things, who for people. Separate the extra information from the rest of the sentence by commas, and that is
So when
a
we
hint
have commas, it is
that it
non-defining.
is non-defining because we are
And we
adding
cannot use that.
an extra information. Yes.
What do we mean by extra information? We can delete them without
Without-
any change
yes.
to the sentence.
Yes.
The meaning of the sentence.
So like what you said, you can't use that in extra information sentence. You can't leave out who or which.
Yes. And in defining relative clauses, we can leave out who
Yes.
or which.
But because we are talking about non-defining
Yes.
here.
Our grammar for the 9th grade, it is non-defining. And again, we repeat, who for people,
Which for
which
things.
for things. Next slide.
There's
lady.
someone asking if we can say there are many.
They are.
They are. There are many interesting places to visit. It's used there are. There are. There are. Not they are. There are many interesting places to visit
Actually, I stopped looking at the questions.
because they're talking to each other.
Because
Not
they are saying bad words. I am astonished.
It's okay,
Are they
it's
are
okay.
they students or
It's
slang
strange,
people in
yes,
the street?
It's strange. Well,
Yeah, very strange.
maybe the exam is doing this to them.
I don't know. Maybe they are not students.
Maybe.
They are street walkers.
Okay. Now they have to use who or which. This is the way they can see it in the exam or between brackets, like we've said. Mrs. Haig, it's a person. So who is a teacher at my school is leaving soon. So this is extra information. She is a teacher at my school. The charity is kind of an organization, so it's a thing we use which. Based in France, has several projects in Africa too. My cousins are people, so we use who, live in Denmark, email us often. I met Tarek is a person, said he was on his way to an interview. Thank you for taking me to the exhibition. Now we are talking about an idea, about an action, about something, so we use which. Thank you for taking me to the exhibition. All this is something I am thanking you for, so we use which. She told me she had passed her test, so again, this is an idea, so we use which was really good news.
They shouldn't have put this example in the book if it is in the book because
It
this
is.
is not in, it is sentential relative clause. It's not non-defining. It is for university students.
But it's clear, I think, for
Yeah,
them.
okay.
I think. It began to rain suddenly again, this idea which nobody had expected. Mr. Hamad, again, this is a person, so who is here on business, came for dinner last night. So again, missing words between brackets, this is most probably. They might have it as match sometimes because when we have long sentences can be divided into two sections, so in the match
Next
sentences.
slide, Miss. Miss Najla,
Yes.
as soon as when...
Here they are.
Thank you so much. I was missing them.
Yes. Now we are going to talk these words which we use to join sentences. Now,
We call them time expressions.
Yes.
They are used with simple present to express the future.
yes,
Or linking word. we can
Linking
say.
words.
linking word. Yes, we use them to join. Now, for example, the first one, when. At the time something else happens. Can you call me when dinner is ready? So here we have when the dinner is ready, and we indicate here tense. As soon as, immediately. As soon as I saw the advertisement, I phoned to book some tickets. The following one, until, which means up to a point in time. They played football in the park until it got dark. Before, at an earlier time. It is best to get there at 8 a.m. before the crowds of tourists arrive. After, at a later time, after I had seen the film, I read the book.
So the students need to know the meaning
Yes,
of
to
these
understand the
expressions
meaning.
and words, and according to their meanings, we can use them or we can choose them in the exam. Miss Maha,
Yes, before
question
I start,
tags. This is something
there are
very
many
important.
questions about the most important topics in the book. They want
All
to- they-
topics
They
are
are all
important.
important. We don't
All
know
topics
what
in the
are
book are
questions
important.
are.
And I want to thank Nawara and wish you a very good luck because she's following and understanding and she wants us to continue. So wish you all the best, Nawara.
Yes, I
Yes.
thank her again because the other people are
And
very
they understood, by the way, and they were saying something about the words you were saying in Arabic.
Yes, someone.
So they understood the English.
But they want us to say it in Arabic,
No.
which is
Yes.
not accepted.
Question tags. We use question tags, which are mini questions, at the end of sentences to ask for information, to check information, or to make a question sound more polite. Question tag depends on two things.
Difference
the subject,
is in the tone of the voice.
Yes.
If it is low, so it is, I know the answer. If it is high, I want to check if
Yes.
it is correct or not.
The question tag depends on the auxiliary verb and the subject. And the
So
inversion,
students should use the same auxiliary in the sentence,
Yes.
except when it is simple present or
or-
simple past.
Yes.
They use do, does, or did.
yes. You are English. Here we have an auxiliary, which is are. So we invert between the subject and the auxiliary. It becomes aren't you. You
If
will.
it is positive, the
Yes, we
question
change
tag
it. Yes,
is
we make it negative.
negative.
Yes.
And if it is negative, the question tag is
is-
positive.
You will help me, won't you? It's a lovely day, isn't it?
So always the question tag is contracted.
Yes,
We don't say will not you,
yes, yes.
won't you.
They didn't do their homework, did they? You couldn't help me with this heavy box, could you? He can't drive it, can he?
Okay, someone asking about the sentence, is if it's correct. The sentence is, can you call me as soon as dinner is ready? And it's absolutely correct.
Yes. Following slide,
But
please.
when you come home, it's going to be called, I think, if you need a call. So
Can we move to the following slide? Match the questions and the question tags. Nasreen,
Yes. So here is an example from the book, but in the exam they have only to choose or put it in the missing word.
missing words and choose. Yes.
So it wa-
or they
or
may have two question
match.
tags, one positive, one negative.
Yes.
So according to the sentence, if the sentence is positive, the question tag should be negative and vice versa.
Yes. So it is choosing between brackets. The first example, the children left the door open. Here we don't have an auxiliary verb. So, and the verb is in the past. So we have to use didn't. And we can't put the children because we have to use only pronouns
Yes.
in the tag part. So we say the children left the door open, didn't they? The second one, it takes 5 hours. Also here we have a positive sentence and the verb in the present, and we don't have an auxiliary verb, so we use doesn't. Doesn't it? You can speak English. Here we have an auxiliary verb, which is can, so it's an easy one. Can't you?
Can't you?
You have to wear sports shoes. Here you have to be careful about the using of have to is different from the using of have or has. Have to, although it is an auxiliary verb, but we have to use don't
The negative form, yes.
in the negative form. So we have to wear sports shoes, don't we?
Mhm.
I should say sorry to him. Here we have auxiliary, shouldn't I?
Shouldn't I?
You won't be late.
Will you?
Will
He
Will
won't
he?
be late.
He won't.
Will-
He
will
won't
he?
be late.
He won't be
he
late, will
won't
he?
be late, will he? Anne couldn't answer the question. Here the sentence in the negative, so the tag is in positive.
Could she?
she? It's too dark to see properly. Here we have S, which may indicate is or has, but we don't have verb 3, so it is. So it is. We say, isn't it? I'm not responsible for it.
We have
We have am, so
always. If it is negative, I'm not. The question tag is am I. But if it is positive, I am. It should be aren't I. We don't say am not I. We say aren't I. Aren't I?
It's irregular.
yes,
Always. I am. The tag of I am is aren't I.
aren't I? The last one, it's not time to go home yet. So is it?
Next slide, please.
Now again, example from the exam, and again, all topics are important, all pages are important.
Yes.
Now, my brother is a person, so who works in France has sent me some interesting email. This is missing words. Aleppo
For
is
the one who asked about the
missing
word,
words.
how can we know the missing word from the meaning?
From the meaning and
From the
from the
meaning of the
missing parts.
sentence?
Yes.
We can elicit, we can know the missing word.
Some sentences miss a verb. An auxiliary verb, for example, is, am, are, was, were, etc. Some sentences need a preposition. For example, before years, we use in. Before days, we use on. These are things you need to know by reading.
Yes, they need to know that always think of the words which is functional
They
words.
They have function, not
they
meaning.
don't have to use verb or something.
Yes.
Thank you.
So my brother who works in France, Aleppo is in the north. So the north, the west, the east, all directions.
Yes.
The north of Syria. I broke my leg, 3 years ago. This is simple past, so it has to be ago.
Now, why is it the, not a north of Syria?
Because there is
you're
only one north,
north,
one
and
north.
one south, and one east.
Sometimes like number 21, he hasn't finished his homework and space. Here we use yet. He hasn't finished his homework yet. And we have another example.
Yeah, we move to Miss Najla.
Yes, now the bridge was built, skilled workers. Now, as you can see, dear student, this is a passive, so we need by before the skilled workers, before the subject.
The missing word is by.
Yes. Bring a paper, a pen to start writing. So when
have
you
two
write,
nouns.
two nouns, and when you write, you need both of them. So paper and a pen.
And.
I visited Palmyra 3 years ago.
Ago,
of course,
this is simple
because
past,
it is
very
simple
clear.
past.
The following slide. How to make questions. We have question types. Miss Maha?
Yes. We have to recognize or differentiate between the two question types, which are
Types.
yes, no types, yes, which are yes, no questions and WH questions.
In English, we have two kinds of questions, WH questions and yes, no questions. The next slide, please.
Yes, no questions start with an auxiliary, a subject, a verb, and the rest of the sentence. While in the WH question, we always start with the WH word, which is for asking about information.
So to make it easy for students, start with yes/no question, then move to the just add the WH word.
Before we go to the examples, I think it is time to take a break.
Yes.
Our great director, we will see